What's up, guys? I'm John from Black Flag Dive Center. Welcome to Fin Tips Friday. Today, I'm going to show you how to rinse your gear after a long weekend of diving in salt water. First thing you're going to need is a big tub of water. What I like to do with my gear is, because even if it's fresh water, it can get a lot of bacteria growth on the inside of the BC. I like to throw a little bit of this stuff in there. This is called stearamine. It's a food grade sanitizer. I like to throw a little bit of that in the water. You can see I just have a couple of tabs in there. That's really all you need. You don't need a lot. There are two ways to rinse this BC. I like them both. First thing I'm going to do is obviously put the outside in some nice fresh water. Then what I like to do is take a water hose. You have two options. You can either take that water hose, you can hold your deflate button on your inflator open. You can put the hose in there, and then you can slowly fill that BC with fresh water. What we're trying to do here is dilute the salt that's on the inside of that BC. That's one method, and that's great because what that allows you to do is also rinse the inside of the inflator, which is also important. The other option that you have is to remove a shoulder dump. Now, you have to be really careful about this, guys, because when you remove this, now a new part of your pre-dive safety check needs to be, is my shoulder dump back in place the correct way? They're not all created equal. It's important that you learn how to do this on your personal BC. I'll remove that. I'll grab my hose. This actually makes it a whole lot easier to get a ton of water in there really quickly. Usually what I do, once I've filled it up, is I'll dump the excess water out of the BC via the bottom dump valve on the kidney here, so that I'm running fresh water through most of the things that are going to touch salt water. I like to fill it up 2-3 times and empty it. And if you're feeling really froggy, what you can do is just leave that shoulder dump off completely, fill the BC up with water, and let it sit in the tub overnight. Just make sure that you don't use the same water that you would use to wash your wetsuit in, because you don't want to get any detergents of any kind on the inside of that BC. What that can do is it can wash away a lot of the lubricants that are necessary to maintain the integrity of the O-rings, so we definitely don't want that. Now, the next thing that we want to do is rinse our regulator. On the first stage here, if you have a yoke, typically there will be a dust cap. On DIN regulators, they'll look a little bit different. Basically, you're just trying to protect the inside of that regulator by putting that dust cap in place. What you can do, what I like to do, especially if it's been a long weekend or whatever and I haven't had a chance to rinse my gears, I like to take the water and I like to run it over the first stage like this. In the world of sunshine and rainbows, you would step into a shower with all of your gear assembled and pressurized and rinse everything like that. Since most of us don't have that option, this is the next best thing. Running water is the best. However, after I'm done running water on the first stage, I leave that in the bucket overnight as well. With the second stages, I take the hose, I put it in the mouthpiece, I run the water through that second stage, and I just count to 30. Once the 30 seconds is up, I'm gonna throw it underwater in the tub for a full overnight soak. Same thing with my Octo here. And then once I'm done and I've let them soak for a few hours, come back, make sure that my shoulder dump goes back in place the proper way, line everything up just right, and dump the water out of it. The next thing I want to do is hang it up, make sure that it gets nice and dry. I also want to make sure that the inside gets nice and dry. The way that I can do that is I can just orally inflate my BC. Now it hangs, the walls don't touch each other, you don't get mold growing on the inside of your BC. Same thing with the regulator. Hang it up, make sure it gets nice and dry. We don't really want to leave it in the sun outside for very long, so once it's dry, bring it into a climate-controlled environment, put it away. And if you do this, your gear will serve you well for many years to come. Hope that helped. Like and subscribe. See you next time.